Hello, and welcome to this video on this kind of very overdone video topic and my own 2 cents on it. Today we'll talk about art style. Now, a little warning, I tend to ramble, which is why I made a script for this, but it doesn't mean I won't ramble, because at the end of the day, a script doesn't magically cure the mess of an ADHD brain I have, so please bear with me. So, first off, I feel like art style is much less important than many people think. Social media makes it seem like it's more important than it actually is, but if you actually look at the industry, the art industry, in various different genres and types, and yeah, it doesn't matter if you're talking about comics, animation, video games, really doesn't matter. Also with design, to be honest. Flexibility is actually much more important than your personal style. Because at the end of the day, if you're trying to land some type of job, you need to be able to recreate the style the studio uses. Or even if you're trying to do commissions, you maybe have portrait commissions that don't necessarily entirely follow the style that you personally use maybe in your sketchbook, but is somewhat appealing to other people. That doesn't mean it doesn't have to be appealing at all to you, but, you know, you're kind of trying to sell a product. Also, even for your own projects, you kind of need to be able to adapt. So, for example, if you're making a comic, you maybe want to tone down on, like, details a bit, or maybe go for cell shading instead of, like, painterly smooth shading. That doesn't mean you have to throw everything you usually do out of the window, but like adapt a bit to the situation you're in. Also with that, we're already actually getting to my second point, which is that your voice is much more important. And by that, I mean that art is generally kind of actually always a reflection of its time and political climate, and you existing within that. You might not always notice that, but if you look into art history, it gets very prevalent. Even if you create outside necessarily of the historical context, like maybe just about a show you like, it's still in a historical context. If you like, even if you don't think it is. So generally seen, think about what do you want to put into this world? What do you want to communicate? What do you want to set the spotlight on? That doesn't mean you constantly have to make deep political statements. You can also just shine the light on your favorite show, music, and your own stories, so on. However, honestly, I think art does not exist outside of politics. Because art is always biased, it comes with your opinion, and therefore is kind of political. Like, not in a way that should intimidate you, I mean just generally seen. It reflects you and your opinions. Yeah. Also, of course, your handwriting, quote-unquote, what people oftentimes call an art style, or like at least part of it, will always kind of be there, because at the end of the day, you made it. Like, you can, for example, with writing, try to write like another person, but it will never be 100% the same. Like, you can try to forge a signature. It may look convincing, but it's not 100% exactly the same that if the original person would have signed it, if you know what I mean. Also, something that I learned in graphic design school, actually, is that every decision in the process of creating should help convey what do you want to convey. What is the vibe? What are you trying to say? And how can you do that? Doesn't mean you need to reinvent the way you draw paint every time. You do what, but you do want to do adjustments and think about what they can do. For example, if you try to make something that has a warm, cozy feeling, you might want to go for like warmer colors, soft light, and rather soft line art, or maybe no line art at all. Whereas something that should read as unsettling usually will be served with desaturation, jagged lines, and too many details like individual teeth. Dim or stark light may aid too. So specifically think about the atmosphere you're trying to set for the scene. What do you want the viewer to feel or to think about? Another point, my next point actually, is that anything you do, even your handwriting, will stay, but anytime you change the media, you're kind of forced to do things differently. That doesn't mean it's necessarily unrecognizable, that it is yours, but yeah. Media changes everything. You can choose it based on the vibes you want to convey, or set it as a limit, so you have to work around it with your unique solutions. Those unique solutions kind of in the end also play a bit into your art style. I generally, in the whole video, think of me using art style in quotation marks. Please. So when you find media that you really, really enjoy working with, that kind of is also part of your style. Because you will end up working more in that media, and you will automatically, like the adaptations you have to do in gouache, like the limits and layers and stuff, will, I think, also start to appear if you like paint in acrylics, which has is less limited in the amount of layers you can do, but you will automatically do less layers because that is what you're used to. So the thing you're used to also kind of plays into your quote-unquote style. My next point is also that forcing it kind of doesn't work. Your style is essentially just a combination of all your likes, your handwritings, your skills, and your creative choices, and is not at all stagnant. Most people don't just have one style. They may only post one, or mainly use one, but I can guarantee you they can also draw completely differently. But you probably still spot some of that handwriting and their interests in the different work. Your handwriting is unique to you, but because there are so many artists with similar interests, it might seem like they have the same style as you, and that's okay. Honestly, originality is kind of dead, but that really doesn't mean your art is unimportant. It's an important teller of time, and I can guarantee you it's important to at least one other person. Don't let your style limit you in what you can do and try. In fact, it's a bit of a paradox because it will limit you to grow and develop your style. Also, please don't get wrapped up in the idea of finding your style. Remember why you started drawing, what inspired you, and keep going. Keep playing, keep having fun. And some cohesion, I guess, will eventually appear. Solely at least based on the contents of what you draw. Also, don't forget to build your skills. Because when I look at the past, whenever I was unhappy with my style, I by now realized that I was actually unhappy with my skill. So by building that and continuing to keep my voice and love to play in mind, it naturally evolved. That doesn't mean my quote-unquote handwriting completely went out of the window. It's still there. I feel like if you look at my first sketchbooks, you can still tell that when I'm drawing now that I'm the same person. But my art definitely did evolve. Also, I kind of dislike when people just say practice, practice, practice. Generally seen, that is not a wrong statement. But I feel like a lot of people don't know what practicing actually is, in a sense. It's not just blindly copying things. So before you sit down to study, pick a focus and try to work on that. Maybe it's line quality, shading, whatever. I'm currently also working on a video on ways of studying that I found so far that really worked well for me. So maybe they might work for you, or like parts of it, or like give you an inspiration starting point on how you want to study, and I don't know, just some kind of aid in that, I guess. So if you are interested in seeing that video, or if you generally like art videos or other creative videos, I highly recommend you subscribe. And if so, I'm excited to see you soon again. Either way, I wish you a wonderful time, and please never stop creating. Bye!